Well, hey guys, backyard scrapping here. A while back, I know some of you remember, probably a lot of you, maybe you don't remember, but I found all those buckets I had from years ago of wheel weights. I'm actually going to start working on some of them right now, but I wanted to show you. I just separated these out. These are the steel. That's all the zinc I got out of about a half a pail here. And then these are the lead, but if you notice, they got all rusty and dirty. Well, fortunately, I have one of those big monsters. See that big tumbler down there? So what I'm doing is I'm taking my old dirty, nasty lead weights, and I'm putting about that many of them in the tumbler, and I'm putting about yay much water on them, and then I'm gonna put them on my tumbler for about 10-15 minutes, and that's how they're going to turn out. Gonna get all that crap off of them so that we don't have to deal with that in our melt pot. Now, I know this is only good if you got one of these big tumblers, but I just so happen to have one, so I may as well take advantage of it. So that's what I'm doing. When we get to melting a little bit of this lead, maybe we'll get back at you and make a little bit of a video out of it. I had said I was going to do this a long time ago, and I'm just now getting to it because I've got the time. So I'll get back at you guys in a bit. Hey guys, I know there's a quadrillion videos out there on this and doing this and people doing it, but just in case you do happen to have one of them big tumblers and some of your wheel weights or whatever you were going to do got really nasty, this is a good way to, I sort them out first because there's no point in cleaning up. Like this is a steel. It's welded on, so that goes in the steel bucket. But I go ahead and get them separated out the same way everybody else does, just by hardness. You can take a pair of cutters, and if you cut into it relatively easy, something like that, it's lead. As many have said, you don't want to get these boogers right here mixed up with your lead. You can see it's very hard to cut into that, but it does have the zinc symbol on it. But I keep the zinc because I can use it. So I'll clean those up later on, and I'll use them for other projects where I need zinc. But right now, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to get these sorted out, and then a lot of these stick-ons are either going to be steel or they are pure lead. This is soft lead. So for bullet makers and casters and stuff like that, or slugs, mainly shotgun slug makers would use something like this because it's recommended to use pure soft lead. Where regular bullets, you can use these bad boys. But I just figured I was doing this. It is part of scrapping, and scrapping isn't just about precious metals. It's about getting lead, copper, about really whatever you can get your hands on. So this is, like I said, there's a ton of videos out there on it. I'm just showing you what everybody else does. I showed you that pile of lead a while back that I had for years and years and years, and I'm actually, hang on a second, and I'll get a few, and I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm actually recasting that lead so I can use it in my furnace when I'm making long ingots. Let me grab one. I'm actually turning it into these bad boys so that I can put them right in my furnace if I need to, or I can cut them with a set of bolt cutters relatively easy and just put them right in my lead pot. Now the thing about it is once you clean your lead up and you get castings out of it, you're going to want to wrap it up. A lot of people don't do that. I just wrap them up in plastic and keep the air off of them because then they don't oxidize and you're not going to get a bunch of, what is that they call on top? The waste product. Oh crap, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, if you keep these out of the air and keep them in plastic, you won't have so much of that. The dross. Because I'm actually melting down all the ingots that I made years and years and years ago and repouring them into these because they're easier to deal with. And they were clean already, but I'm still getting dross off of them from the oxidation of the lead. So once you pour your lead, if you've got the time and got something to put it in, I have really heavy plastic bags that I can seal up. I mean, keep it out of the air, and you're not going to have that dross problem as much, especially after you go through all the effort of cleaning them up. But I just wanted to show you what I was doing. This is how it's ending up, and then I'm storing it away. And I'm using it to make sinkers and buckshot and slugs and whatever else I want to make out of it. So I'm going to continue on cleaning this up. Like I said, I'm separating it out, throwing it in the tumbler, and then it's coming out like that stuff I showed you over on the table a minute ago. So we'll get back at you guys in a bit. Okay guys, you remember the buckets a few minutes ago, the old nasty. It's actually, you know, the lead doesn't rust, but the clips, unfortunately, if your bucket holds water or gets wet, you know, that's got your weights in it, those clips that, you know, hold them to the rims will rust. And that rust will dust off and migrate over and get on all the, everything, the lead, everything. So, like I said, fortunately, I have a large tumbler. And all I do, like I said, I tumble them off for about 10 minutes. And that usually takes care of that rust problem and gets them cleaned up so that we don't have to deal with that crap with the rust when we're doing our melt, because we're going to get enough crap off of these as it is. So that's basically all I do, and you see how they came out. I mean, they don't even look like they ever had that rust dust all over them. So I'm just going to continue doing this. I'm actually going to make sure and let these sit out here and dry real well. You don't want to mess with water and lead. So make sure that everything is good and dry when you go to melt it. And hopefully we won't get any rain. But that's all I'm doing right now. Just cleaning this stuff up. Getting all that rust off of it. Rust dust, so I don't have to deal with it when I'm melting it. And that's that. As you can see, it does a pretty darn good job just putting them in there for about 10 minutes. I'm not wanting to do, you know, nothing but clean that crap off of them. That's all I want to do. And later on when these dry out, I'll sort out all my soft lead from my hard lead, which is all these little boogers, these little stick-ons. They're just pure lead. So, I just wanted to show you how it looks when I open the barrel and take them out. Look at all the funk that's coming off of those. Every bit of that I would have to deal with in my pot when I melt these. So you can see the dirt and grime and rust and everything else that came off of just that barrel. So I'm going to just continue cleaning the rest of these up. I don't actually remember how they got nasty like that. You know, like I said, they were sitting there for God knows how many years. I thought they were underneath where water couldn't get in them, but obviously that wasn't so. So that's a little extra work, but in the end it's going to save me some time not having to deal with all that dirt and all that rust dust and all this crap that's in there. So that's that. Actually, this will probably be all I'll do till I start melting some down, and we'll show you how I do that. So we'll be back at you then. Okay, guys, that is that nasty looking bucket and a half, 2-gallon bucket and a half of those rusty, looked like a mess, and they were a mess, wheel weights. That's all cleaned up. So that's probably half a 5-gallon bucket. This was the last. I doubt there's any steel or zinc in those other 3 or 4 buckets that I have, and they're filled right to the top because they were from way 25 years ago, at least. This was actually the last bucket that I picked up at the guy that was saving them for me at the time. I know that this was 1999 because it was a year or two before I bought this place where I'm at now. So it had to be 1998 or 1999. And this is the steel. That's all the steel that was in it, in all of this. And that's all the zinc that was in it. So that's how I know. Usually today, it's probably the other way around. You got this much steel and zinc and maybe that much lead if you're lucky. But anyway, so these are all wheel weights. I like to, once again, I'm into separation, but I like to do these little guys first because you've got the most metal, you know, that you're going to throw away. And getting rid of these makes it easier. Once again, I'm into, like I said, sorting and separating. It makes it easier when you go to get to these because you're not going to have as many clips. If you get rid of all these little guys first and do the hard part first, then you can do the easy part afterwards. That stuff there is the stick-ons, and that is all pure lead. So these I'll melt, you know, naturally together, but that I will keep separate and pour pure lead bars out of it and keep it aside for when I need, you know, some pure lead. Those ingots that I showed you earlier came from these guys. You know, the long ones came from these guys that I poured probably back, I would venture to say I poured these in probably 1995, 1996, somewhere in there. And most of that other stuff that's poured in there. But even melting these off right now, you still get some dross because they've been exposed to the air and the environment. So that's what I mean when I'm doing these new ones now. I'm wrapping them up and sealing them up in plastic so that I don't have to deal with that and the stuff will stay cleaner. Alright, I just wanted to show you this part and show you how much lead I got versus steel, which probably caused all the rust in the first place, and the clips, and versus zinc. I was actually hoping to get a little more zinc because I can use it. But anyhow, we'll get back to you when we're going to do some melting and cleaning this stuff up and pouring some bars. So we'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, we are actually doing our first stage of cleanup. I'm doing those little guys that I was talking about first. Get rid of them, get them out of the way. And the reason I do that is because there's going to be more steel in them, because you got a bunch of little tiny weights and every one of them's got a clip just like a big one. So I'm going to go ahead and get these done. I'm not going to try and clean nothing up other than getting the metal off of here. What I'm going to do is pour this into bars, get the steel off of it, and then I'll remelt it again afterwards when I get all this stuff cleaned up. That, you know, that bucket and a half of the rusty ones that I cleaned up yesterday. First thing I want to do is get the metal off of them. Once I get them all, the metal off of them, get them all poured, then I'll redo it and flux it and clean the lead. And I did want to mention one more thing. I have a back fan going, but right now there's a lot of paint and crap on these, so they're going to generate some smoke. And when you're first doing your first burn off and getting this stuff, you're going to be burning that paint and stuff up. So make sure and keep your distance from it, or wear a respirator or something like that. Alright, it's going straight up and away from me right now, so I'm not worried about it. But like I said, you're going to be burning a lot of crap off of these. So when we go to pouring, I'll get back to you. Okay guys, we're getting ready to pour. What I'm doing now is I'm just skimming off the clips, putting them over here. When you do this, you got to remember, you got to keep whatever you're putting them on, leave it set down in there in the lead for a minute. Keep it hot, start shaking them when it's in there, and then shake them off. Otherwise, you're just going to get your lead stuck to everything. And the main thing you don't want to do is do that. So let that get good and hot. Shake these bad boys off, throw them in here. You're going to lose a little bit. You always do. But just let it set there for a second. I'm not doing a big pot right now, so when you're not doing a lot, it's actually a little bit harder to scoop these bad boys off. But either way, it'll work. And I'll come back in here and fish through this because the lead should drop off of most of these. There's one. Very hot too, guys. Don't do what I just did. Not smart. But just keep stirring stuff around. And then, like I said, I'm going to skim this dross off of this. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put a few more in it while I've got those there, so it'll keep it from splashing. Make sure everything is dry when you put it in here. If you put it in there wet, you're going to have a big mess on your hands. You're probably going to have lead blowing all over the place. So just make sure whatever you add to that liquid pot is dry. Okay guys, you can see we got our clips out. So I'm going to go ahead and do my first skim on this and clean it. Like I said, I'm not going to flux it right now or put any wax or wood or nothing in it. What I want to do is just get as much of this crap out right now as I can. And then I'm going to pour a bar, or the bars, whatever we can get out of this. Because believe it or not, it's going to be fairly clean. But then I'm going to remelt it, and I'm going to flux it and clean it then. I'm basically doing the same principle you do with gold. You know, when you want to clean it up, melt it. Do what you're going to do to it, melt it. Clean it up again, drop it again, melt it. Same principle with this metal. I'm just going to keep, you know, stirring it for a minute, get as much of this dirt and crap out of here as I can. Throw it in my slough off thing here. See, as long as that spoon is hot, you're not going to get any of that lead. You just got to make sure that you keep your spoon hot. And see, each time we stir this, we're going to scrape the bottom. We're going to get a little more crap come up to the top. And there's a little bit more coming off now. But like I said, this is just a basic first melt and clean. That's all I'm trying to do here. Just a first melt. We're going to get a little lead, but now afterwards, I will also take this and I will remelt all that, and I'll get the lead out of it. So we've got that done. Let me go get my glove, and we will go ahead and pour us a bar or two. Now, if this was a bigger pan, I would not do this, because there is the chance that you would break your handle off of your pan, and that you do not want to do. Okay, so there's our first ones. Get this crap out of the way. When those set up, we'll pour some more. I think we got enough in here probably to do 2 more, and then I'm going to throw some more wheel weights in. See, now we've done the harder part. Now we're going to get a lot more lead than we are those steel clips, because we've did all the little ones. That's why I like to do that. I like to do things easy, and if they're all mixed up, then you got to deal with the little ones, the big ones, and everything else all at the same time. So get rid of the majority of the work in the beginning, and then you don't have to worry about it in the end. These tongs, I'm going to dump these over here, and I'll show this later on. I'm just going to pick them up and put them in the water. pour the rest of this and get some more lead going in there. And like I said, this is just the first melt, so it doesn't matter. See all that dust coming down that pan? That's why I said this is just the first melt. Go ahead and load up some more of these bad boys. And like I said, now we're going to get less clips and more lead. It'll be a little bit easier because we've already done all those little guys. Just remember, these are going to throw some paint fumes and stuff like that, so once you get them in there, let them burn off. Alright, let me grab these bars here and I'll show you what we got. There's our first ones. So I will melt this again, and then I'll flux it and clean it up. Right now, like I said, I'm just getting rid of the steel clips and some dirt. I like to do my stuff a couple times because I want it to end up clean. So let me turn this camera and I'll show you what we do over here, and hang on just a sec. Okay, all I do with these is dump them bad boys out and stick them in the water. Okay guys, I'm going to continue on. I'll get back to you in a little bit, but that's basically all I'm going to be doing, so there's no point in doing it over and over. When I get a stack of bars over here, I'll cut back in, and then maybe tomorrow or the next day we will melt this stuff down, and I'll show you about fluxing it and cleaning it up. So we will be back at you in a bit. Well, okay guys, we are hitting our dross one time to get our extra lead out of it. There's all of our clips and crap, and there's what we got out of that old nasty looking rusty, dusty wheel weights. So I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to get this, hit this one time, let it pour off what I can pour off of it, toss the rest, and I'm going to call it a night. The sun is going down. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. I know it wasn't about gold or silver or something like that, but this is also, like I said earlier, still part of scrapping. I like to make my own buckshot. I like to make my own slugs, so why not? I will probably do another video that'll pertain to this when I'm actually cleaning some of this lead up and getting it ready to pour some buckshot out of, because I need a bunch of buckshot. So alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit different, but hey, you know, it's part of it, something else that I do. So we will see you all in the next video.
I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.